What's up, everybody? Welcome back and thank you for tuning back into the channel. So, on this one, we're tackling that subject of forgiveness. And we know that forgiveness can be a very vast, very expansive topic. But there are some core essentials about forgiveness that will help us in our journey, in our healing. And one thing I learned about forgiveness is it can block your abundance. It can mess with your money, your finances, because forgiveness is about release. And when you hold on to resentment, guilt, shame, or regret, whether it's for yourself or for other people, you're holding an emotional energy that creates resistance in your body and in your spirit. Abundance, whether it's love, money, or joy, is all about flow. And that's what makes forgiveness so important. Removing those blockages and open up yourself to access the flow that is the universe. So some of these TikToks we're going to dive into, they have some very deep, good nuggets of wisdom. We'll love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. I won't hold you further. Let's go ahead and dive into it.
Let's talk forgiveness. I have so many people that come to me about this topic alone, and I practice it in real time. Let me highlight first that if it is something traumatic that you have gone through, you have to process and grieve that trauma because forgiveness requires a level of healing to be able to do so. I wish I could tell you that a snap of the finger, you can forgive somebody in 1 second, but you got to process it. You got to process what has happened. Now, what forgiveness is not is you excusing what happened, you condoning any of the behavior, you denying that it ever happened to you, you're forgetting that it happened, or that you're reconciling with that unsafe person. Forgiveness is about releasing the hold that the offense has over you. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Recognize what happened to you was wrong. You have every right to feel how you feel. If you're angry, you have every right to be angry. If you feel betrayed, you have every right to feel betrayed. If you feel hurt, you have every right to feel hurt. And that's one of those starting points. You got to be honest with how you feel and validate your feelings and the experience that you have. The word says the Lord is close to those who are brokenhearted. You can get through it. When you let go of that resentment and that anger or that desire for revenge, a lot of peace starts to show up in your life. And when we get caught in these situations where we feel offended or betrayed or hurt or anything like that, where the perpetrator, the offender did something wrong to us, a lot of times it's hard for us to actually forgive because we're still looking for justice. We're still looking to even the playing field. We're still feeling like this is not fair. They done moved on. They done went on with their life. They're still good. This isn't fair. And so we put conditions on our forgiveness, or we're looking for some type of compensation. We make it transactional. And you know it because it sounds like, I can forgive you if you. I will forgive you, but there's that condition. And what is a condition? That's what you have to ask yourself. When we're hurt, we can't really see the humanity in people. And so because we can't see it, it's hard for us to extend any level of compassion, mercy, grace, empathy to the human side of that person. You hurt me. I can't think about the fact that maybe you had some internal struggles going on. I can't think of the fact that maybe you had your own traumas that you were dealing with. I can't think of the fact that maybe you were responding or doing something to me because you were hurt in your life and you were angry. I can't see the humanity in you when I'm realizing that you did me wrong. Yeah, but you have to start practicing it. You have to start practicing it. That's the way that you really, truly forgive, is when I say, you know what? Maybe there was some internal struggles that this person had. Maybe there was some things that this person was really going through. Now, my personal practice is entrusting the offender to God. So when I'm looking for justice from somebody who did me wrong, I acknowledge the fact that the ultimate justice belongs to God. The word says, do not take revenge, but leave room for God's wrath. It's written, God will repay. God will avenge. Even if it doesn't look like the revenge that you planned out in your head. Even if you look like, well, why is your life still good? You don't know what people got going on internally. You don't know what people have going on behind closed doors. Some people know how to put up a front and make it seem like it's good, and you have no idea what's really happening. But know that that is God. Release it. Let me add, forgiveness is a journey. It's not a single event. It takes some time, baby. It's okay if you don't feel ready right away. Take small steps. Pray that God softens your heart. Oh yeah, to add, forgiveness does not mean that the pain is going to go away. That's going to take you some time. There is no part of healing that's immediate. Boom. It's just not. And although holding on to that anger and resentment feels justified, it also can keep you emotionally and spiritually tied to that person who has offended you. Child, if God only forgave us based on if we met those conditions, Lord. Go pray, baby. Let God heal you. Psalm 147:3.
Forgiveness does not change the person.
Shout out to Kitty Rose for that one. Pretty powerful message. And one thing I'll say about that is I know a lot of people who watch my videos may not believe in God. They may not believe in, an external force. But whether you do or don't, even if you believe in a external power or a higher power, or maybe you just simply believe in karma itself, because we live in an energetic world. I think there are very few arguments against the fact that we live in an energetic world. And so when we're holding on to pain and resentment, unforgiveness, we're living in that energy. That's the energy we're putting out. So some people don't find solace in allowing God or source to handle a person. They want to see another person suffer for hurting them. And I get that. I think that's human nature. And I like what she said about having to practice being aware that other people are going through their struggles. They made mistakes. They hurt people. We've done it to people. And don't we want forgiveness for the stuff that we've done? If we truly seek forgiveness. So even if you don't believe in like God or whatever, my point here is to still be open to letting energy work itself out, whether that's karma, time, and just give retaliation up to the universe. And I believe that most people who watch this, you obviously believe in some sort of external power, whether that's God, source, karma, just universal law, whatever. But beginning to look at forgiveness through that lens helps us be able to not hold on to the pains, whether we get an apology from a person or not. It's about getting to a place where we don't require an apology to forgive them, because forgiveness doesn't mean you have to keep on interacting with the person. And we'll get more into that later. But again, I wanted to give a shout out to Kitty Rose on that one, and that's KITT Rose, ROSC, over on TikTok. Let's go.
That hurt you. Are you listening to me? Forgiveness doesn't change that person. Forgiveness changes you. Let's be honest for a moment. How many of you desperately desire change in your life? Forgiveness changes you. Guess what forgiveness does not do? Forgiveness does not mean you forget. One of the most crazy theories is that you forgive and forget. You don't forget, but you do have the opportunity to forgive every time you remember. There's some things in my life and there's some people in my life that every time I remember, I have to forgive them again. Forgiveness is not a one-time fix-all. Forgiveness is a daily sacrifice that I have to implement so that I can receive what it is that God has for me. If I don't put into practice forgiveness for those that have hurt me and those that have impacted me in a negative way, then I hold myself hostage to a prison that God never intended for me to stay put in.
Real talk on that one. And to speak back to that whole practice of forgiveness and reaching back to Kitty Rose, I'm sorry, on that prior one, is once we consciously start to practice it, we will naturally get to a space where we'll begin to understand other people. And it's not about justifying someone's behavior. It's not about being a victim and saying that you have to take responsibility for everything that people do to you. But if you want to clear up your energetic blockages as it relates to not forgiving a person, or even not forgiving ourselves for stuff that we've done or things that we've held on to, and the way we mistakenly hurt ourselves, then we won't progress to the stage where we can practice. Because once you practice forgiveness and you see how your life has improved because of it, that's what opens the door to being able to give grace to other people who have wronged us or hurt us in some way. Like they say, it's not a one-time process. It's a constant thing. Because how many times, like, have you ever forgave a person for something, you've done your processing or whatever, and years later you might think about the person or the situation and get pissed all over again? Like, that's happened to me. And each time that shows up, that means I still have some work to do on this subject. And I dive into it, and I won't get into that here. That's a much deeper kind of practice. I probably need to do a whole video on that itself, just the process of forgiveness. But awesome words of wisdom there. Like, it's not a one-time thing. It is a constant journey, but it gets less and less each time you do it, and it's worth it. The time you spend is worth it for your life. So let's go.
Forgive yourself for letting someone make you feel like you were easy to let go. Forgive yourself for making them number one when you were just a second thought. Forgive yourself for helping them heal when all they did was hurt you. Forgive yourself for giving them your best when all they gave you was their worst. Because your heart is pure. And even though you don't have them, you'll always have that.
Forgiveness is a hard topic because you don't know everyone's pain and you don't know everyone's pain tolerance. Oh, just forgive. It's easier said than done. Forgiveness is such a powerful tool because it's a redeemer. Offense is such a thing. It will keep you from forgiving people. It keeps you from being forgiven from God. To not offer forgiveness to people who have hurt you, it's the very thing that the enemy desires to have. You also have to be wise in how you move forward with people after forgiveness. I'm not saying forgive and then act like it never happened. It did happen, but I'm not going to treat them as if they are forever in debt to me because they offended me or because they hurt me. Who am I? You didn't create that person, so it's not your job to hold them in that regard. If we thought about all the things that we've been forgiven of, it would lend us to be more forgiving towards others. Stop trying to forgive out of your own strength. You can't do anything about it now, but learn from it and allow God to give you wisdom on how to move forward. That's it. It is the thing that will allow you to live a free life. If we look for reasons to be offended, we'll find them all day. Take inventory. Have I forgiven everybody I need to forgive? Nobody said it was easy. It's your job to forgive.
Shout out to Megan Ashley over on TikTok for that one. That's Megan Ashley.
Forgiveness in relationships is one of the hardest acts of love. It means choosing to let go of the pain someone caused you, even when the hurt runs deep. Forgiveness in relationships isn't about pretending the hurt didn't happen or ignoring the lessons learned. It's about deciding that the relationship is worth more than the grudge. It's recognizing that love is messy, that people are imperfect, and that mistakes don't always define someone's heart or intentions. Forgiveness in relationships doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing to rebuild rather than walk away. It takes courage to face the wounds and work through them, to give someone the chance to prove they can do better. But when forgiveness is genuine, it creates a bond that's unshakable. It teaches both partners that love is about weathering the storms together, not just basking in the easy moments. Forgiveness, as tough as it is what transforms love from fleeting to forever. And forgiveness in relationships is the only thing that sets both souls free to love without limits, and that will never change.
Forgiving people in silence and never speaking to them again is a true form of self-care. You already know what it is. It's no point in you even engaging with them, because they ain't gonna do nothing but lie, make up excuses, or try to play the blame game. You just knew to forgive them in silence, then move on. That's how you maintain your peace, because you understand when you forgive, you heal. And when you let go, you grow. That's just the truth. Because at the end of the day, if you sit back and engage with that nonsense, get all mad, try to force somebody to apologize, it ain't gonna go the way you want it to go. It ain't gonna do nothing but cause more chaos. That's why you gotta learn to let go, give it to God, and let karma handle all the dirty work. Because it will. And karma ain't nothing but an energy. Yeah, if someone do something bad to you, expect they're gonna go through their own problems. You don't have nothing to worry about. You just continue to go on with your life and live in peace and find freedom. And that's facts. I appreciate everybody that got this for my message. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Shout out to One Smooth Brother on TikTok for that one. Yeah, it's One Smooth Brother. Thanks for those nuggets.
Forgiveness does not mean we pick back up. It doesn't mean that we converse. It doesn't mean it looks like yesterday. And it doesn't mean that a person is granted access again. Forgiveness means a deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person. I've walked away from it with clean hands and a clean heart, but the way the situation affected me has made me look at others differently. Therefore, it is impossible for me to proceed like yesterday. There are levels to every situation. Therefore, I'm walking away knowing I conducted myself reasonably, but connecting is unreasonable and I don't care how it is perceived afterwards. Forgiveness is for me. Therefore, in order to continue this protection, I must set a boundary. I can still have love for you. I can wish you the very best after our departure, but things won't be the same, and that's on that.
Forgiving someone is like drinking.
Thank you to Seasoned Dialogue 1 on TikTok for that last message.
Poison and hoping the other person dies. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. They probably don't even know you haven't forgiven them, or they might not even be losing sleep over the fact that you haven't forgiven them. But it's poisoning you. Forgiveness is for you. Poisoning you. Forgiveness is for you to heal yourself. For example, this dictionary, it's pretty light. So let's say it's an offense. If I hold that offense out, I keep holding on to it. How long do you think it'll take before my arms start shaking and eventually can't bear the weight of this small but light thing? Because that's usually what it is. Something small, something light. But it'll eventually weigh you down. This is only one offense. Imagine if I had this whole bookshelf of offenses out here in my hand, trying to hold all of that pain, all of that anger, all of that hurt. If I can't let that go, it's going to weigh me down. Not only is this offenses of other people, though, this is offenses against yourself. People have a hard time even forgiving themselves. You have to learn to forgive both others and yourself. It's only going to hold you down. It's only going to put a negative halo over your head. It's not going to produce anything positive. Again, not forgiving is like drinking poison and hoping that the other person dies. You're killing yourself by not letting those things go. I know it's hard to forgive. It's very tough to forgive, especially when the offense is great. But still, nevertheless, not forgiving is only going to hurt you more. And it will continue to hurt you until you let it go. I was at Bible study the other week, and a young lady asked, how do we forgive? I like this Bible study because we kind of just talk plainly. It's not necessarily all scripture. We just kind of talk plainly. But the answer that I gave, I'm actually kind of satisfied with. And I told her, forgiveness is not seeing the person as the offense they committed. I think that's important. Because when you truly forgive someone, if you look at them and you still see the pain that they caused you, I don't think you've truly forgiven them. I think you still have pain that you need to let go. But there's pain still there, which means that the forgiveness hasn't fully taken place. And forgiveness doesn't take place instantaneously. You don't just say, I forgive you, and it goes away. It takes time. But you have to learn how to not see that person as the offense. And the best way to do this is with boundaries. Because then you let the boundaries speak instead of you having to think about it. For example, if I had an accountant that robbed me of some money and I wanted to forgive that person, I can forgive them and see them as a regular person, but I have the boundary that says, you no longer handle my money. I can forgive you. I won't see you as the person that robbed me every time I see you, because that means there's still hate and hurt in my heart. I just see you as a person, but you're no longer my accountant. You're no longer that person that handles the money. Healthy boundary, but also healthy forgiveness. You have to learn to be able to forgive. It really is important, especially because let's say you commit an offense. If we were all held hostage by our worst offenses, this world would be terrible because we all make mistakes. but we're all looking for mercy and forgiveness. So in order to get it, you have to give it, because life is cyclical, and what you sow, you will reap. There's this funny story, it's in the Bible, it's called the parable of the unmerciful servant. There was a man that was in debt to somebody, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's just put it in today's terms. Let's just say he was in debt, $500,000. And the man was about to sell his wife, his kids, and all his possessions to pay him back. And then the man basically got down on his knees and said, please have mercy on me. Please have mercy on me. I will figure it out and I'll pay you back. The man who was indebted to said, I will have mercy on you, and canceled his debts. Ooh, $500K? Cancel his debts? That's a good man. That man who was just forgiven of his debts went and found a guy that owed him $100 and started to choke him and said, you owe me money. That man got down on his knees and said, please forgive me. I'm trying to work it out. I'll figure it out. Man said, nah, I'm reporting you to the authorities, and had him thrown in jail. Now, there were some bystanders around, and they saw what just took place. And they went and reported it back to the dude who just canceled that man's $500,000 debt. And so that man said, oh, I just showed you mercy, but you couldn't show mercy for someone else. So because you couldn't show mercy, I will show you no mercy. And had that man thrown in jail and tortured until he could pay back his $500,000 debts. What does that lesson teach you? It teaches me that if you want mercy, you must be merciful. If you want to be forgiven, you must learn how to forgive. This life is cyclical. You hear it in so many ways. Karma, what goes around comes around. What you sow, you shall reap. There's so many ways to skin that cat. Just know that life comes full circle. And if you wish to have forgiveness, if you wish to have peace in your heart, then you must learn how to forgive. It's not for other people. It's for you. Great quote. You can take it or leave it, however you want. The first to apologize is the bravest. The first to forgive is the strongest. The first to forget is the happiest. That's all I got. I love you guys. See you in the next video.
Shout out to Joshua for that one. Love that video because I love the example he gave of holding the dictionary, and you hold your arm out and it just weighs you down, weighs you down, weighs you down. That is exactly what unforgiveness, holding on to hurts, holding on to past pains does to us. And having to forgive ourselves. Each time we have to forgive someone else, best believe that there's some self-forgiveness directly related to that situation. That is a part of the process as well. So when we're forgiving others, when I tell people about forgiveness processes and how to process it and get through it, I often have to talk to them about the self-forgiveness process too for each thing. And there's this other TikTok I saw which triggered me so much when it comes to forgiveness that I decided to do just a whole video on that one alone, just kind of responding to and reacting to that one. I hope that you will check it out. I'll put it out here in the next day or so. Subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on if you want to get that video when it comes out. A very radical reaction to forgiveness or lack thereof. And I found myself a little triggered initially listening to it, but there was some aspect of it that I was like, okay, check out that video, guys. Like I said, turn on that notification bell so you'll get it when it comes out. I will be dropping it here soon.
I think forgiveness actually can be instantaneous. I think the problem often is that we keep making forgiveness a part of the conversation with access. Like, I can immediately say, I accept what happened for what it is. You violated, this is how I feel, and never talk to you again. I can make that decision and be mad the next day. I can make that decision and still be pressed for the next 3 months. the work that I have to do to be healthy after being transgressed has nothing to do with my ability to forgive the person. Like, I can forgive you immediately and still have a lifetime of work to do, because that's how trauma works. Like, the healing doesn't come before forgiveness. Forgiveness is a decision to move forward despite whatever circumstance around you. You feel me? So when we had a conversation like, oh, how long, you talking about how long should I wait until I can be around this again? How long should I wait to feel safe around this person? That has nothing to do with forgiveness. Bro, if you have to start asking yourself how long should I wait to be around, you shouldn't. That ain't got nothing to do with forgiving nobody.
Facts. Like, just because I forgive you doesn't mean I gotta keep with you. Okay? That doesn't mean I gotta fool with you. And a lot of times, being just real talk here, knowing that I'm not gonna fool with you anymore makes it easier to forgive you, because you know what? I'll learn what lessons I need to learn from this situation. I'll do my work to grow from this however I need to. But rest in knowing I don't have to fool with you again. I don't have to talk to you. If I see you on the streets, whether we speak or not, say hi, keep it moving. You know? And that makes me think about this other video I'm thinking about doing too. Like, forgiveness for people you have to be around. Like, whether it's your coworkers, people in your church, people at school, people you live with. How do you live in forgiveness when you don't have the option to not be around that person? If you think that's a deep dive that you'd like to know more about or talk more about, drop a like and just put in a comment something to the effect of forgiving family, or forgiving others when I gotta stick around. Or just put in the comment, I gotta stick around. And if I get enough of those, that'll let me know that you guys want to dive deeper to that, because there's a lot of stuff I want to say about that one. But anyway, let's go.
See, everybody wants the forgiveness part, but some of us need to be on the apologizing part. Dr. Anita said something last week that jacked me up as a parent. She said the biggest sin of a parent is pride. I've been seeing these memes of how parents apologize. Have y'all seen that? Especially black parents. I'm gonna just tell on us. Then got in trouble, all that other stuff, and be like, you hungry? Okay. You wanna eat? What's that game you like? What's that game? What's that game you was telling your cousin about that you would just say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for talking to you that way. I said some things that were out of my emotion. I had a hard day at work and you didn't deserve that. I apologize.
What you did is so not.
Yes, to those parents, drop that pride, drop that authority figure. It's okay to relate to your kids and apologize. Your kids, if you never done it, they would be shocked. But it also teaches them accountability. It teaches them it's okay to say I'm sorry. And it's going to help them be more apologetic and be more mindful of how they treat their kids when they get older. That's a part of setting the example. As parents, you have to let your pride go sometimes. It's okay to apologize to your child. And it's a process too, and if you're not used to doing it, it's going to take some work. But in your later years, when life happens, you'll be glad you had the capacity to do that, to allow yourself to grow to that level for your kids. Kids become adults. And that relationship with your kid totally changes. They don't stay kids forever. So if you are a parent that's struggling with that, take heart and keep that in mind.
Okay, I refuse to be connected to it anymore. That's forgiveness. I describe it as like bolt cutters, because as long as if you've caused me harm in some way, or even an institution has caused me, whatever it is, we're still connected. It's like an umbilical cord. And your shit has a chance, a risk of infiltrating my heart. And I don't want that. Forgiveness to me is saying, I'm not going to be connected to it anymore because I want to be free.
You don't get self-forgiveness by telling just pieces of the story. I forgive you for trying to get the love in that relationship that you didn't get in childhood. I forgive you for reaching for a love that you've never had before. It makes sense that you want it as bad as you did. It makes sense that you bent over backwards to make it work. I forgive you for all of the attempts that you made to make this person love you because you wanted love that bad. We don't hang on to toxic relationships because we're bad people. We're trying to get a need met. I was trying my best to meet my own emotional need, and I thought I can get it done through this relationship. I forgive you for making that decision. We can still get that need met, but how we get that need met will look different. That means that you're gonna have to look in your history and really find out what was it that I was trying to fix with that relationship. One, so that I don't repeat that cycle. But I can also start working on fixing those places within myself before I'm in another relationship. There are no external remedies for internal problems. So there's not a man, a job, a career, a baby, a amount of money in the bank account that's gonna fix what's not right here.
Shout out to Brittany Noel for that nugget, for those nuggets. And yes, everybody, that's it for the forgiveness on this one. I hope some of those nuggets resonated with you. If they've unlocked some things or made you look at forgiveness a little bit more seriously and take it a little bit more seriously. I hope that happened, and I hope it happens if it hasn't happened already. Shout out to those creators on TikTok. I always encourage you to check them out. And like I said, there are a couple of, because forgiveness is such a vast subject, and there's so much I want to say about it, because I've learned so much about it, and worked through so much of my stuff, and I still have work to do. We live on the planet. There's always going to be new stuff that shows up. But the more we practice it, the more we live in it, the easier it gets to do. And I think the less volatility we attract in our lives. It's about cleaning up the junk and cleaning our vibrations so that we'll naturally attract more harmonious relationships. That's what my channel is all about when we tackle these various aspects of spirituality and the stuff that we deal with. You know, spirituality is really the human experience, and really quantifying and understanding and dissecting the many relationships and how they impact our lives. If that resonates with you, there's so much more to cover here on the Warrior Metaphysic. As I was working through these TikToks, like I said, there were so many different aspects of it that I wanted to tackle. So there will be other videos about forgiveness in specific areas like romantic relationships, unforgiveness. Like I said earlier, forgiving people when you don't have the option of not fooling with them again. So like I said before, subscribe to the channel, like this video, turn on those notifications if you want to see those videos as soon as they drop. I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out. Thank you for the people who've been liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Have a good one.